All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So we finally got the ratings for Loki Season 2 finale. Now, these are Nielsen's ratings. So when they come out with this sort of block of ratings, it's actually, how much the show in its entirety was streamed. As opposed to the singular episode, it's how much of that show was streamed between certain dates. So, although this article is stating Season 2 finale, premiere compared to the finale, etc., it's actually not indicative solely of people tuning into the finale. It is quite literally a metric of the entire season. And that's important, whilst we kind of take a look at this. And I'm not sitting here to be like, I'm dunking on it, blah, blah, blah. It's more to take a look at, and I do genuinely think the sort of disinterest in superhero comic book movies, more specifically superheroes actually. Comic book movies, I think, there's a wide variety of comic books. It's not just superheroes, but superheroes in general, and the disinterest in Disney as well. And I think it's fascinating, like you can kind of chronicle this. People will have many, many excuses under the sun. It'll be, COVID the first time round. I mean, even this article states that. And it's comical. It's very, very comical to see. And I think, if anything, it genuinely is that disinterest. I think it's there. And I'm not going to say that it's a disinterest that will go far-reaching forever. I think you actually only have to have one very good superhero movie to come out and people will be like, holy shit, this is amazing. And the interest will be back again. It's, we've just been bludgeoned over the head with terrible product after terrible product, i.e. movies or series. So let's take a look, because this is just fascinating stuff. So it had favourable reviews, which it did. The general census for Season 2, it was a narrative improvement over Season 1. And I watched Season 2. I never bothered to review it. But I will say, if you're going to compare it to Season 1, from a narrative story perspective, it was miles better than Season 1. Miles better. And if you actually compare it directly to Season 1, it does seem like they listened to the fans. I mean, Loki, I wouldn't say he's his usual self in what we've seen before, but he was much better portrayed than Season 1. I mean, Season 1 literally had him kicked in the balls repeatedly and stuff like this. It was nonsense. But Season 2, yeah, I mean, he was imposing again, sort of mischievous, a little bit villainous, kind of back to that. I wouldn't say they out and out listened, but there was an appearance of a listening going on. So it was an improvement, but ratings for Season 2 were down. And this is the premiere, right? Not many people tuned into the premiere. But we say this, or the article says this, Loki Season 2 finale was up nearly 200 million minutes. But remember, that's actually not what it was. Those 200 million minutes are the total of Loki streamed. That's just Loki as a season. So the 200 million minutes could actually be, believe it or not, because this is how Nielsen do their ratings, people just choosing to watch the entirety in one go. That could genuinely be that, which is, that's not many people at all, actually. And the article's claiming it's a sharp rise in comparison to the premiere. However, numbers in comparison to Season 1 were still down, according to Nielsen's streaming ratings. And that's the point, right? It's the comparison. Because although this article is trying to say that the finale was a massive success because people really, they tuned in versus the premiere, that's simply not true anyway. But it's the comparison between the two that matters. So, Season 2 had 3.39 billion minutes of viewing, right? Season 1 had 5.23 billion minutes of viewing. Which, yeah, viewership comparatively is down about 35%. 35. They lost over a third of the viewers between Season 1 and Season 2. Because that's what's important, right? 3.39 billion minutes is actually just the total. That's what people, how many minutes were streamed overall of the entire season 2. Whether they did that once it was all out, or whether they did it week by week, Nielsen doesn't actually depict that. They don't tell you that. They can't. It's not, well, I'm sure they probably could, but it's not how they do their metrics. So, you know, for Loki to lose a third of the viewership is staggering. And like I said, it goes, to me, some way to explaining, or at least being representative of the disinterest in capes, right? Superheroes, capes. Now they say this, the nation was in the tail end of COVID-19 during the summer of 2021, meaning most Americans were still stuck at home with little to do. Not true though. I mean, true, but not true in terms of how people consume media and products. And actually, if you look at the overall, if we're looking at the overall trend of superheroes, you can compare metrics by metrics. So, you know, they sit here and say, well, COVID-19, sure, fine. That in isolation might have been the reason, but it's not. It's not. Because then you look at the box office. Well, we've had flop after flop recently. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania was a flop, right? That was not successful. The Marvels, incredibly unsuccessful. In fact, a huge red flag for Marvel has lost somewhere in the region of $200 to $300 million for Disney and Marvel. And that's not, you know, that is demonstrably true. It's not me being dramatic. So if you pass that up with Loki Season 2 viewership being down as well, then yeah, COVID-19 isn't the reason, is it? It's actually disinterest. And they say this, to provide proper context, the Nielsen ratings also point to an overall downward trend in streaming in recent months, as the last round of ratings marks the first time that a show failed to eclipse the 1 billion minutes viewed. Well, I would say, and it barely, 918 million minutes, so, I mean, pretty much there. Although, funnily enough, Suits is usually always at the top. Suits has smashed it lately. So that is quite surprising, actually. And Loki, you can see there, 753 million minutes. Which is, yeah, like a lot. Kind of. Not really, but maybe. So, yeah, I mean, it's there, but it's not right there. But again, like I said, so let's kind of, you know, pop back onto all of this anyway. In terms of a downward trend overall of streaming, you've just entered into the holiday period. So we've had in the last month we've had Thanksgiving. People are out and about. People are going on vacations, Thanksgiving vacations. They're with the family. It is a time, I would say, or at least it would make sense to me, where the TV goes off and conversations begin. At least more so than usual anyway. So I wouldn't say that that's... I wouldn't say that it's a downward trend in streaming overall. But it's just my opinion, I guess. And it does say, you know, week of 6th to the November 6th to the 12th. Which, yeah, sure. I mean, I guess we're not right there with respect to Thanksgiving. But it's that holiday period, people are going off. I think, personally, when you pass all of this information up with the other side of the industry, which is the movie side, we can very clearly see a disinterest in Disney overall and Supes, capes. But I just thought it was fascinating. It's just interesting stuff. Nearly a third of the viewers checked out of Loki between Season 1 and Season 2. That's not to do with streaming. That's not to do with vacations. That's to do with quality. That's solely to do with quality. People will watch it if it's interesting. People will absolutely watch it if it's interesting. There's many seasons that you can, you know, a show that you can watch between seasons, and the viewership doesn't drop by a third, for goodness sake. So anyway, drop your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear it. If you're new here and you enjoyed this video, you hit subscribe for more just like this. No pressure if not. Turn the bell notifications on, and yeah, give it a share. Cheers guys, take care, bye bye now.